The new Scrubs show premieres February 25th, 2026, and I think it's probably going to fail. Every single time a beloved 2000s comedy has tried to come back, it's followed the exact same pattern: sanitize the humor, play it safe, and completely miss what made the original work. I'm going to explain why I think Scrubs 2026 is fundamentally impossible to recreate using pattern recognition. I loved the original Scrubs. Original Scrubs got me through some really dark times, and I know that seems weird, but when you are dealing with the illness and ultimately tragic death of your mother when you are a relatively young adult, sometimes you just need a real solid comedy to help you get through it. And for me, that was Scrubs. The original Scrubs won 2 Emmys, a Peabody Award, and was praised by actual doctors for its medical accuracy. It did such a good job balancing absurdist humor with genuine emotional weight, and it wasn't afraid to go dark. ABC has recently ordered 9 episodes, and the main cast is back with Zach Braff, Donald Faison, Sarah Chalk, and Bill Lawrence is returning as executive producer. Filming wrapped in December, and it premieres in about a month. And a lot of the marketing material looks like it could be good, but we've been here before. We've seen the hopeful announcements and heard the "we're going back to what made it great" promises. Every single time, modern television's desperate need to appeal to everyone while offending no one has killed what made these shows special. So let's be real, Scrubs couldn't exist today. It couldn't exist today. I mean, they've even gone back and removed certain episodes because they were deemed offensive. It wouldn't be made today. And that's exactly why this is going to fail. The original Scrubs premiered in 2001 and ran until 2010. Entertainment Weekly gave it an A- and called it the trickiest comedy on TV. IGN gave the first season a perfect 10 out of 10. But what made it work wasn't just good writing, it was the cultural context of early 2000s television. Shows could be edgy without being controversy magnets. Writers could create flawed, genuinely unlikable characters without think pieces being written about what it says about society or Reddit outrage. The humor could be uncomfortable, and nobody demanded every episode teach a specific modern day moral lesson. JD's internal monologue is often immature and selfish. Dr. Cox was verbally abusive in ways that played so well for laughs. I mean, calling JD by girls' names, writing prescriptions for 2 testicles, physically giving him man cards and then taking them back. This is pure gold. The janitor's full-on psychological warfare included actual gaslighting and stalking, and it started with the penny in the door from the very beginning and ended with the penny in the door. You even have the Todd. You can't even explain what the Todd is because, as he said it perfectly, when asked, "What are you?" he said, "I'm the Todd." Yes, some people have looked at this and said it's aged terribly. Screen Rant has multiple articles about problematic jokes and blackface episodes removed from streaming in 2020, trans people being used as punchlines. But here's the critical thing: I don't care. And a lot of people don't care. We don't want our comedy overly sanitized. And even with that, the show earned its emotional moments, right? By not being afraid of darkness. The episode My Screw Up with Brendan Fraser is one of the most devastating episodes ever made. I think it's the first episode where the tone is established that not everything would be okay. When Brendan Fraser's character Ben died, it mattered because Scrubs had shown us that hospitals are places where people die. But this was the first real eye-opening moment that this wasn't just a comedy. This could be real. This show could make you feel things. Back in the day, the show also had this freedom to be niche. It found its audience and served them specifically. The AV Club called it a key link in the evolution of TV comedy. It didn't need to be the biggest show on television. And this is what modern television no longer allows. Everything needs to be for everyone. You need to have the largest audience possible. Every character needs to be likable. Every joke needs to pass through sensitivity filters. You have to have the women be perfect and have to like beat down the men. The men can't be masculine. They just have to be goofy and can't do anything right. And every emotional beat needs to be processed through therapy speak dialogue, and it all has to use cringe millennial writing. Bill Lawrence himself acknowledged the core challenge in a June 2025 TV Line interview where he said the hardest part is that Zach and Donald have aged, Turk and JD. People still have that affinity for that goofy youthfulness. It's why the T-Mobile commercials work so well. But if I saw two guys in their late 40s, early 50s doing world's most giant doctor and carrying each other around all the time, I would go, what the F is going on? Right there from the creator. They know they can't recreate what made it work. Zach Braff has said the revival will show JD beaten down by the system over the last 15 years. That's prestige drama, not Scrubs. Could it work if done right? Even to address the childhood aspect of it, by the end of the show, Turk and JD, Elliot and Carla, they had started out as younger characters and they grew into adults. That's why JD left in the first place. Anyway, like I kind of get what they're saying, but it's not impossible. I mean, Dr. Cox's entire character, for example, was built on being an abusive mentor who deep down cared beneath all the cruelty and sarcastic jokes. Screen Rant documented how calling JD girls' names and the man card reinforces toxic masculinity. Modern TV would actually need to make him villainous, tone him down to gruff with a heart of gold, or have every other character condemn his behavior. But all three destroy what made him work and what made him Dr. Cox. Those moments wouldn't have as much of an impact. And notably, John C. McGinley, who played Dr. Cox, is only returning as a recurring character, not a series regular, when originally he was in the most episodes of Scrubs, even more than JD. And the janitor isn't even returning at all. Neil Flynn isn't in the cast. And I think it could be because his entire character of psychological warfare just wouldn't fly today. JD's narcissism and immaturity weren't entirely flaws to overcome. They were core to who he was throughout the series, and then he grew up, right? But they weren't this like pointed thing that they had to point at all the time. He was a human. He grew up. Modern television can't do this anymore. They need clear character arcs from immature to mature. You gotta point at all the problems and make sure everyone knows that the writers know it's a problem and that they're going to fix it if they even write it that way in the first place. Because the original just let him remain fundamentally JD while growing season to season as a doctor and as a man. The medical cases also often had dark, unhappy endings. Patients died and mistakes were made, and Scrubs existed in a middle ground where death was both sad and sadly routine. And today it's very difficult, for me at least, to see writing on these types of shows where it can really tug at your heartstrings. The issue that everything is designed for clicks and viral moments. Scrubs was designed for 22-minute sequential episodes with gradual character development, and you can't optimize that for TikTok. We also have the stupid committee, right? Like Bill Lawrence is executive producing, but not serving as showrunner. Asim Batra is, and Tim Hobart, who was initially co-showrunner, left in October 2025 due to creative differences. Modern revivals are designed by committee, tested with focus groups, and adjusted based on social media response. Every controversial element gets smoothed out. Even the discourse, right? So in 2001, an episode aired and then people would move on. In 2026, every episode gets dissected on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube. Every joke gets examined for problematic elements. Shows are created defensively to try and preempt criticism, I guess you could say, or try to just avoid it altogether, which means they're sterilizing and making things boring and playing it safe. It's going to just be the same regurgitated writing and stories and cringe that we have seen over and over and over again. Another problem is that ABC, the platform, needs reliable hits with broad appeal. Former WB president Jordan Levin told Variety that it fundamentally comes down to, is there a reason for it to be that is artistic? Is there a purpose beyond simply economics and marketing? With only 9 episodes ordered, everything needs immediate success or cancellation. The original could experiment because it was mid-performing and found its audience over time. That experimentation no longer exists. The Scrubs revival is trying to recapture what the original was while removing everything modern TV won't allow. That's the fundamental incompatibility. ABC's official synopsis says, JD and Turk scrub in together for the first time in a long time. Medicine has changed, interns have changed, but their bromance has stood the test of time. Here's what I think we'll get based on pattern. Legacy characters will be sanitized. Dr. Cox would be gruff, but overly supportive. And that's why he's only going to be a recurring character. JD will be a competent attending who's beaten down, but essentially responsible. The janitor, we already know, won't appear. And then we have the new cast. Vanessa Bayer, Joel Kim Booster, 5 new interns. They'll all be diverse, which isn't bad. But based on every other revival, they'll be diverse in the most surface level, boring way possible, each representing a demographic rather than being complex characters who just happen to be diverse. The humor will be safe as possible. Bill Lawrence said they want to show what medicine has become while maintaining laughter and heart, but nothing, I think, can be genuinely uncomfortable. The fantasy sequences in JD's mind, I think, will be toned down if they even show up at all. The medical cases will have hopeful outcomes or prestige, drama, seriousness, but I don't think they'll even be able to write them in a way that will make me care or that will make me believe the characters even care. I think it'll probably be about healing, growth, and finding yourself through cringe millennial therapy speak. Every conflict resolved, will be resolved through honest communication. Every flaw will be acknowledged and harped on and actively worked on, and it'll just be boring. What to Watch wrote about revival failures, saying that shoehorning these characters and their views into a new era needed a delicate touch that most of these shows lacked. So it'll be fine. Maybe even good by modern standards, but it won't be Scrubs. It will be a show wearing Scrubs skin while fundamentally misunderstanding what made the original work. The biggest proof would actually be the season we do not speak of. That one sucked. And if they couldn't even make that work back in the day when you could still write humor, they're not going to be able to do it now. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. Bill Lawrence says he loves the show. He created it based on his friends' real experiences, and the cast loves it, supposedly. Are they paid to love it, or do they actually love it? We don't know. They've been doing a podcast about it for years, and nobody involved wants it to fail. I don't think anyone really wants it to fail, but history tells us exactly what will happen. This show will be designed by committee to appeal to everyone while offending no one. Characters will be sanitized, the humor will be safe, and in 6 months, we'll be asking why another beloved comedy failed to recapture what made it great. Because Scrubs couldn't be made today. Not the real Scrubs that won the Peabody Award, that got perfect scores from IGN. That show was a product of its time, a time when television could be weird and imperfect. People will say audiences moved on, or the original just wasn't that good. There'll just be a lot of coping. Or they'll find some form of istophobe reason why people didn't like it. But ultimately, like everything else, the real lesson will be ignored. You can't recapture magic by playing it safe. You can't honor a show that took risks by being risk averse. And you can't make Scrubs in 2026 because everything that made Scrubs work is exactly what modern television won't allow. And I think it's an important lesson to learn that it's okay for some things to stay the way it was in the past and to let us revisit and enjoy it. I'll watch the premiere on February 25th, and I will genuinely hope that it's good because life is dark right now, and I could use some of what original Scrubs gave me back in the day. But I have a feeling that because of the patterns already established, the outcome is going to be predictable, and that's the saddest part. Not that the revival will fail, but that we've created a television landscape where it was doomed from the start. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think the Scrubs revival can be a hit? Are you excited for it? Are you like me, where you're worried or even don't think it's going to be very good? Are you even going to give it a shot? Do you have a nostalgia revival that you think actually worked? Or what was one that you think was the worst? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and peace out. Bye.